Thank you. I have the honor and the pleasure to report on the workshop dedicated to the legacy of J.C. Kapoor, a workshop that was moderated and chaired by Chandra Singh and Piotr Dukevich. I think the panel and the workshop very much reflected the work and the life of J.C. Kapoor, both in the breadth of the issues that we dealt with, the passion of the debate, the openness of the dialogue, and the challenges that it raised. The panel dealt with a wide range of topics, and some of them have already been raised in the opening comments by Fred Dahlmeier and others of our distinguished panel up front. But I just want to highlight three key points. The first was certainly the work of J.C. Kapoor himself that we're all familiar with here, but certainly the way he combined a passion and a dedication to preserving and embracing local traditions and local life with a concern with what was happening at the international level and what kind of international system we have. This led to a wide-ranging discussion, both in which we highlighted, and some of the participants highlighted, examples, some of which have already been mentioned, as I said, from our distinguished panelists, from the example of India, other examples in which local traditions find ways for dialogue. A second issue that we dealt with in the panel and was very much part of our discussion was, I would say, a very frank and open discussion about the word dialogue. I think there was a great deal of consensus that dialogue is necessary, that dialogue is essential for us to create the kind of world that we want. But there was a great deal of debate about what are the limits to dialogue, what are the conditions that we need to create for dialogue to take place, and for us to be able to move forward. We can't have a panel and a workshop dedicated to J.C. Kapoor without talking about the future, and we also had an interesting discussion about the future, and Fred Dahlmeier made an important point, I think, at least that we should note, is that we shouldn't talk about the inevitability of the future, but the possibility of the future, given the challenges that we have, and how do we construct dialogue so that we can ensure that that future becomes possible. And the third element that I think that the workshop focused on is, where do we go from here, and how do we take the passion of the World Public Forum, how do we take the ideas, the commitment that we have here, and transfer these into concrete action. And I think that one of the themes that came out of our workshop was very much that ideas matter, and that ideas are the cognitive and normative map that we want of the future. And that what we need to do is begin to structure our ideas into action. And that requires, yes, passion, yes, commitment, yes, values, but it also requires information, research, and dialogue. Thank you very much, and thank you to the chair.
Thank you for your speech.